Lex in the house. Yeah, we good. We good. Actually, a couple of us are in Atlanta right now for our last tour of our Leading the Way tour. So I'm currently in Atlanta. That's where I live now, but I'm always repping Knoxville. So yeah, appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. Good number. Good number. Cool. Keep on going. It's a good Monday too, y'all. Good Monday. Last week of April, start of May. We getting into it. Cool. Cool. All right, Hennepin County. Yeah, yeah. Antonio, what's going on? What's going on? Some of y'all I haven't seen in a long time. Well, cool. All right, well, we're going to get started. So, yeah, this is our April roll call. Again, my name is Andre Canty. You may have seen me in some roll calls back in the day being, maybe 4 years ago. So, for those who know me, good to be in this space again. And for those who don't know me, good to meet you. So, yeah, this is our roll call. Next slide. So before we get into the poll, we just have some homekeeping. So we all been on webinars before, so just make sure your mics are muted. Don't want any unwanted sound, and then you're already killing it in the chat feature. So yes, use the chat feature for any shout outs, and we'll be dropping resources also in between, also for Q&A. So again, for housekeeping, just make sure your mics are off. Use the chat feature for anything, shout outs, and any kind of Q&A. And then from there, I will kick it to Dr. Margaret McBride for the roll call poll. Yeah, so get y'all to our convening. Yeah, so Dr. Margaret,
Hello,
floor
hello,
is yours.
everybody. Let me get this poll started. Did it pop up on y'all screen yet? Not yet. No? Okay. Oh, and we got our last panelist in here too. Okay, poll. Launch. Okay, should be on your screens now, I believe. Any thumbs up? Latrice, you good? Okay. Hello, everybody. Y'all know I'm the data girl, love data. So we got a couple of questions for you in the poll, some related to this topic, some just CU things in general. If y'all could fill that out, this is how you get into the running to get your ticket drawn to win a free registration. Have to be present to win, so you guys stay the whole time. But fill this out, and we will announce the winner at the end of the roll call. We still admitting people. I'm gonna give them a chance to get in that running. Okay, the answers coming in. People, they coming in. Y'all know the summer's coming up. So the first question is about that summer program. And so far, y'all can't see the data. I'll show you in a second. But about 50% of the people who answer been planning 3 months in advance. Some of y'all, y'all working on it, doing what you can, less than 3 months before summer, and we got a couple who are still reactive, but that's why we here. We working on getting us to a point where we can all be proactive. Oh, you can't see the questions? I don't know if I could redo it for you, Kathy, but I got your name. And Andre, am I passing it back to you? We can start going on.
Right, yeah. Next slide. Cool. All right, y'all. So it's the agenda. So we're talking about, you heard the song and you know what's coming, right? So with May, it's preparation for summer, right? So not just the temperature, right? Just how do you keep people safe? So now I'm just thinking about summertime. I'm actually looking at to my left the DVD of "Do the Right Thing" from Spike Lee, and it was kind of set around 1989. It was about, the summer of that time. It was hot, not just with the temperature, but what was going on, right? So how can we keep people safe? Well, we have a good panel of people who have been in the work and led by our deputy in engagement, Alicia Cobb. After that, we'll do some wrap up. So we'll announce the winner based off the convening poll, show you some resources, and then talk about May roll call. So that's the docket for today. Again, I see y'all showing love in the chat. Just keep on doing the chat. So a little framing. So a lot of you may be familiar with Cities United. You may be new, but what we always try to do is like reframe like why we're here, what we do, and why we do it. So our vision at Cities United is to create safe, healthy, and hopeful communities for young Black men and boys and their families. Next slide, our mission is support a national network of mayors and other local leaders who are committed to building comprehensive public safety ecosystems designed to reduce community violence and its impact on young Black men and boys, while also creating new pathways for them to thrive. Next slide. So we have several values in Cities United that we hold on to. So we have values and principles. So you can read all what they are, but these are what make Cities United really whole in what we do. So firstly is social justice. Next is equity. So they're kind of hand in hand. So again, we're talking about social justice and equity. We talk about futures. We have to fight for it, and together, right, through all systems. Youth voice, right? So youth voice, the power of young people. So recognizing them as not the leaders of tomorrow, recognize the leaders today. They're important because their voices come from their experiences. So they're experts in that sense. No titles, no income, no class can supersede their experiences. And in collaboration, we have several stakeholders, right? City leads, mayors, young people, community partners. So collaboration is extremely important. The last, innovation, right? So how do we be innovative in new ideas and new systems to be safe? Next is our principles. Next slide. So continue the theme of innovation, right? So again, how can you be new and consistent with new programs, new initiatives, new investments? Again, how you go around being supportive of one another. This stuff is kind of hard, right? So what's collaboration and being supportive looking like? How you be flexible? These times are really uncertain. So I always talk about being flexible, to the times that we're in. And then kind of lastly, how we exceed expectations. All right, so whatever benchmark you have, go further beyond that. Next slide. So what do we believe in? The system-wide approach to achieve true public safety. We support jurisdictions in developing and implementing a comprehensive public safety strategy. It involves political will from public officials, but also public will, those on the ground, the citizens, the community partners. We are interrupting the cycle of community violence, dismantling systems of inequity, and supporting cities and counties that invest in new infrastructures. Again, going back to the mission and vision of Black men and boys. Next slide. So what is a comprehensive public safety plan and what is the ecosystem? So when your jurisdiction, whether your city or a county, this is the ideal. So in the middle, again, young Black men and boys. So again, I can read everything on the screen, but I mentioned around interrupting, dismantling, and investing, those components of it. And then to the side, this is what a fully implemented strategy is. As public and political will aligned, young leaders are engaged. I mean, young leaders, not just one, there's young leaders. Cross-sector collaboration. And lastly, an office for violence reduction that is fully invested in communities. Next slide. So we have our roadmap. So how do we get to a comprehensive public safety plan? We have our roadmap. So those have been a part of our leading the way towards, we've been assessing how jurisdictions are related to our roadmap, be phase one. So when you really, really start, how do you prepare the plan? right? That's where you start. And kind of lastly, once you go through constructing, implementing, and creating, how do you sustain it? How do you evaluate it? Right. So we won't go back to the well. You have to recreate the wheel, right? Because you have everything in place. So from the roadmap to a comprehensive public safety plan, this is how we get there. This is how we get to safe, healthy, and hopeful communities. Next slide. So enough from me. Again, we got a good panel talking about ways to keep safe during the summer. I'm sure a lot of you all are prepping already, but again, these good people are coming from their experiences from several jurisdictions about what they're doing. This is led by my sister in the work, the Deputy of Engagement, Alicia Cobb. So, Alicia, floor is yours.
Thank you, Dre. I appreciate it. Hello, everyone. Happy to be on the call with all of you all today. And without prolonging or holding off anymore, we'll jump into the introduction of our panelists. So again, I am Alicia Cobb. I'm the Deputy of Engagement at Cities United. We also have Kay Darrell Cowan, Executive Director of HEAL 901, Jenny McCarthy, I'm sorry, Jenny, Director of Development with GRAPS, and Bryson Davis, School-Based Interrupter with Monsi. And with that being said, if possible, if everyone can come on camera that is on the panel, thank you. And I'll go ahead and get started and jump in. So again, today we're talking about seizing the moment, activating safety through summer strategies and programming. And to get us started, I think we all know the importance of summer strategies and programming. And at Cities United, we know that summer is a critical window, a time when young people have more unstructured time, community visibility increases, and both opportunity and risk rise. But we also know that summer is an opportunity for us, an opportunity to engage earlier, intervene intentionally, and strengthen trust and deepen healing. That is the foundation of our public safety redefined framework. The belief that public safety is built through prevention, intervention, healing, and shared accountability. It's also the framework behind our summer toolkit, which Dre will talk a little bit more about with all of you all towards the end of the call. But in short, it's designed to help jurisdictions activate safety with intention during the summer months. And that work requires all of us, community, systems, credible messengers, and young people themselves. So today's conversation is about how we seize the moment, how we activate safety through strategy, programming, and partnership to build safe, healthy, and hopeful communities. At Cities United, we know how important it is to staying close to what's happening in real time. Summer has a way of revealing both the strengths in our ecosystem and the gaps we still need to close. And often, young people feel those shifts first. So as we were thinking through this panel, we thought that it was important to have a young leader at the center of the panel so that we can elevate the voice of young people and not just find solutions, but also bring them to the table to be thought partners. Bryson, I want to start with you because your voice helps ground us in what's real and what the reality is that's happening on the ground. As someone working directly with young people every day, what shifts in the summer? What changes in how young people move, gather, and engage?
Yeah, I mean, as we know, when the sun comes out, the guns come out. So, you know, in the front line, we have to prepare for that. But, I think it's more than just young people wanting to get into trouble. I think it's a cultural shift. I think it's young people screaming out for help, telling people in power that we want to be engaged, we want to be put in programming, we need something to keep our attention, and if not, we'll find a way to communicate that behavior. So, yeah, I think that is just really a cultural shift that young people are trying to communicate when things get a little riled up in the summer, and it happens every summer.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I would ask though, what do you think young people are needing that adults may not always know or recognize?
Yeah, I think that they need someone that I think they need someone that will engage with them while they're in this programming. I think that they need us to recognize that this is an opportunity for engagement, opportunity to build relationships and rapport. And if we can tap in with these young people and be more interested in them instead of trying to be interesting, I think that we'll start to connect with them and start to answer some of those needs that they really don't have the words to communicate. I think it's just a cry for connection.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you're lifting up connectivity, right? A space to be vocal, to elevate their voices. And you're also elevating what we're seeing happening, right, in reality, what's happening across jurisdictions and on the ground. Caterell, we know that summer changes the pace of our communities and often increases both opportunity and community tension. How does your team shift its strategy, staffing, or community presence during the summer to stay proactive and responsive?
It's good to be on the call with everybody, but following the lead of Christ, you just got to be involved with what young people have going on and what they say they need to. I think that from the standpoint of being in community, we already know gun violence is going to be you know that there's going to be problems in community. But for me, it's imperative that I let young people be the charge of what they need from us to make sure that they're safe over the summer. What does that partnership look like? Even for Memphis, we're in a very unique place. I can take children to the Civil Rights Museum to show them the history and why we fight so hard for community and the things that we're still fighting for, to show them their role in it. I think sometimes we forget that John Lewis was 19 when he joined the Civil Rights Movement and that fight. So just understanding that when we don't engage our young people, that's when we get gaps in the fight. So letting them know that importance. And just making sure that wherever they say they need us to be there. Like I look at the children like toddlers. It's just redirecting energy. They have this energy and they're looking forward to release it in some kind of way. And we keep telling them, stop, no, don't do that. Well, what can they do if everything they're trying to do, we saying stop? So I listen to the babies and I'll be like, hey, y'all want to go to this? Cool. Well, we're going to find a way to do this in a way that's safe for you, but you can still enjoy the things that you want to do. And I think that that's where we come in. How can we guide their thoughts and make sure that some of the things that they want to do, that we're providing safe spaces for that to happen, especially when we know that there is very few summer camps for our children between the ages of 13 and 17, when children are most vulnerable in our community. That's post-pubescent teens. That's when the bodies are changing and everybody looking at them different. So it's important that we're engaging with them.
Thanks for that, Caterell. As you all know, a core part of our public safety redefined framework is interruption before crisis, right? So again, not just responding only after community violence occurs, but recognizing escalation early and acting intentionally, as you're mentioning, Caterell. So Bryson, from where you sit in schools and community, where do you see conflict building before adults even realize it?
Oh man, that's the easy one on social media. Something that, I bring, I feel like the value I bring to my team is just having that nuanced understanding of how conflict is escalated, is originated on social media. And when we don't take that into account, we miss a lot of early signs. And, we have to take social media as a whole different ballpark and respond to it in a whole different way than we would in real life. So, that's where a lot of the conflict goes under the radar, and that's where it really amplifies into, serious violence.
Yeah, I hear you. And often, like, there's warning signs, right, that's missed, or that's just overlooked. Jenny, when interruption does happen in time and harm takes place, your work becomes very critical to this field. What does immediate support and healing look like in those moments?
So I think I would give a two-part answer as an original, I guess, an original thought that so many on this call are engaged in. So we are part of the HAVI, the Health Alliance for Violence Intervention, and our AIM team, our at-risk intervention and mentoring team, is an HVIP program. So we respond to the hospital when someone is shot, stabbed, or assaulted, provide that bedside response, talk about liaison to services, best possible care they can get, understanding what possibilities of retaliation look like, threats for the hospital. So we're constantly assessing that on the ground. And then we also have someone that goes to the scene. So often one team member will go to the hospital, one team member will go to the scene. So that happens immediately. And then we look at what post-discharge wound care and wraparound services look like after the fact. So good intervention informs prevention, right? So we know that what we learn from being at the bedside informs what happens immediately in those days. It informs what needs to happen in those communities on that block, in that area, in the park nearby, but also what needs to happen long term to prevent these incidents from happening again.
And our violence interrupter that goes to the scene has access to the community as well as to some of the rumors that are, being spread by the trauma that after it happened. So the police allow us to take over the scene while they're doing their investigation. We are, conducting the scene of those loved ones that are there and the community that is there, disputing any kind of rumors that might be, and in the moment getting peace treaties to let us find out what's really going on before you go and start popping off or whatever the case may be. And then we provide advocates for anyone that might be involved from a justice level. Our case management also includes advocacy in that moment right there when it's happening.
Yeah, thanks, Johnny and Jenny. And it sounds like what we're hearing is that healing requires restoration, but strategy as well, right? We know at Cities United that healing is public safety, right? Like we have an entire department centered around policy and healing. So we know that that's foundational for the work that has to be done in community. And so I'll kick it back to UK Darrell. In interruption work, healing has to be a part of that strategy, right? How are you creating space for healing while also stabilizing the community?
Being a licensed mental health substance abuse counseling facility is very important to making sure that they're safe. When
You're
things
cutting out a
happen,
little bit.
when things happen in the community, it's imperative that we be able to respond in a way to address the trauma that happens from these incidents. Case in point, we just had a young man who lost his life prom night, and people are looking at the effects of him and his family. I'm also having to deal with the effects of how that affects the young lady who was on her way to prom or coming back from prom with her. Like, what is the long-term implication of her and things like that? So for us, the healing is all around the trauma that these firearm-related incidents, ensuring that we're responding to make sure that mental implications are taken care of. It's not normal to lose your friend. It's not normal to grow up in communities where guns we make sure that the children realize that that's not going to live in those conditions that people are going to.
So you were cutting out a little bit, but I think what you were saying, right, if I'm getting it correctly, is that healing also encompasses the mental capacity of the young people, right? And so like as they are losing people and as they are experiencing trauma, also addressing their mental needs and making sure that we are providing them with the proper services that they need, I think is what I was capturing. Okay. Bryson, from a young person's perspective, what does healing actually look like? How do young people define it?
Healing is it's understanding that you can persevere through anything you've been through, but needing the people that are in power not to weaponize your resilience. And what I mean by that is I feel like a lot of young people that are in the streets are high risk. They are and they're looking to make it out of that space. A lot of people in power will tell them, "Oh, you're so strong. Oh, you're so capable," and not really address the underlying issues that come with them. So weaponizing how strong they are, weaponizing where they come from and the grit that comes with that. I feel like that's one of the biggest thing that hinders healing for young people. And when young people are thinking about healing, that just gets in the way.
Yeah, thank you for that, Bryson. So we've seen across jurisdictions teen takeovers, large gatherings, high visibility moments, right? Just depending on where it's taking place, there may be a different name for it. And instead of just reacting to them, we have to ask, what are they telling us, right? So, like, what are these moments telling us? What are the youth trying to convey to us? So, Bryson, I'm coming back to you, right? When you hear adults talk about teen takeovers, what do you think they're missing, right? Like, we've seen it in Detroit, we've seen it in Chicago, in Milwaukee, just to name a few of the jurisdictions that we're in. But like, what from your perspective, what is it that we may not be getting?
That a lot of these uh teen takeovers, while it is a national problem, so it's not just a local thing, but a lot of the takeovers are comprised of local or really hyper local conflict and that just needs a space to manifest. And I think that's what's happening across the nation when it comes to these takeovers. These young people are realizing there's just so much tension in the air. It's about to get back warm. Everybody's coming back outside. The same thing we kind of realized with COVID. It's just, kind of, it's starting to repeat the cycle. And I feel like people are missing that aspect of it.
Yeah, and do you think also that it could be like a support thing, like no
Yeah,
resources available, no
definitely.
yeah, you
Like
said
I
definitely.
yeah, like I said earlier, this isn't just a a spur of the moment type of thing. This is a cultural shift. This is a cry for help. Young people are asking uh, for safe spaces, for places where they can, express conflict, express, even when they're not in conflict, just somewhere where they can be safe.
Yeah.
It's a teen takeover. It's teens organizing these things. Like they just need somewhere to be teenagers.
And it's a lot of power in that too, right? Like teens organizing, getting together, able to move cities across the globe, right? So like that's organizing within itself. Jenny, when these moments are happening, what support systems need to be activated afterwards, right? For young people and their families, because we know that, in certain state offices, they'll just go directly towards enforcement measures. But from your perspective, what do you think needs to be activated for young people?
That's a great question. I think serving, often our team finds ourselves in a place where we are understanding what's happening and understanding who, like law enforcement or others, might be stepping in to respond immediately and to say, hold on a second. What does this mean? What does this look like? Why is this happening? Take a step back and ask questions before taking action. And so I think a lot of what we've been doing when we've seen the takeovers happening across Denver is to say, okay, their teens are telling us something, youth are telling us something. What have you heard? What of that is correct? What is incorrect? And then what do youth need? And I think the question about healing was a good one. And the question about empowerment follows right with that because we can't say it's okay and you're so resilient and you're taking this power into your own hands. It's not enough to stop there. It's to say, wait, what do you need? Where have we as a system failed you that you have to talk in this way at this time? And what are the other ways that we can actually create the space and invite voice and not wait for people to claim their voice, but to offer the space for voice?
And the other thing was education. I mean, we had to educate the young people and the parents around what these takeovers meant because it did happen in other bigger cities prior to coming to Denver. So
Hmm.
here it was kind of like a knockoff. They were just doing it because it was hard to do. Some of the young people that even went, didn't realize that they were going and there were going to be conflicts there. The parents didn't know that the young people were even going to these takeovers. So just educating the community about what was going on. And then the other thing that we did was we found the promoters and we gave them jobs promoting positive things, right? So now the youth were coming to something that was pro-social and positive because it was the same promoters that were promoting the takeover. So we flipped the script on them real quick. And then while this flip was script, we had all kinds of resources there that were meeting with these young people, giving them opportunities to keep them busy so that then the takeovers kind of died down because they were already busy doing something pro-social and positive.
Yeah, that's actually amazing. And you all said something, right? You said you asked the young person, where has the system failed you, right? Which I
Yeah.
believe is the perfect segue into uplifting trust, safety, and belonging, which we know are all core, elements of being able to work with a young person. At the center of our engagement work is trust, right? We know that young people engage where they feel safe, where they are seen, and where they are, where they feel connected and heard. Um, Bryson, what makes a young person trust an adult, right? And I think that's a simple question, but it's a foundational question, because without it, like there's no connectivity.
Sorry, I was looking for the unmute button. But man, I keep echoing the same sentiment, but I don't know why it's speaking to me so much. But really just focusing, and this is speaking directly to credible messengers, to people who are frontline staff that are making these connections every day. When I've seen so many youth just get turned off from people who are more focused on being interesting instead of interested, right? If they come into these spaces talking about the hood they used to rep, or the money that they have, or the opportunity that they had, they come into these spaces talking more about them and never got to get a chance to really tap in with the youth. So, I know a lot of kids that kind of take that opportunity to kind of plan out they lick, you keep telling me more. What else you got? You know what I'm saying? So just really focus on building that real rapport, focusing on being interested in these young people, not being interested or trying to be interesting or overbearing. Just be there, be present, and that relationship, that rapport will build itself.
Yeah, I think you said something, Bryson. Like credibility and community goes hand in hand, right? And when you're thinking about these individuals that are coming back and calling themselves credible messengers, right? It's foundational that they understand and have context around the young person that they're working with, but also the families, right? Like that's one and the same. And most of the time, the older person probably grew up with the family members, had a relationship with the family members, so the young person already has context about this person, right? That is supposed to be credible.
Exactly.
And I think that's the piece that's missing most times, but you are absolutely right. Like credibility has to mean something. Like, oh, your word has to mean something. Or the young person will call you on it.
They're gonna do their
Jenny,
research.
exactly. Yeah, spot on. Jenny, how do families begin rebuilding trust after experiencing community violence?
I feel like trust.
Jenny and Johnny, I'm sorry.
You could also start doing. Okay, I feel like building trust is one of those things where you do have to be interested first. And I think that's a great question. It's not here's what we have to offer. It's here, like, what do you need? What's happening here? And it's not always the same answer, and it can't be. And so understanding the right answer at the right time in the right place is what we have to learn before we do. And so I think approaching trust and understanding community and understanding not exactly what happened, because the details are important and they're also not. So understanding what's important from what happened so that that healing starts to begin and is genuine, and to say, here's how we build trust together. Here's how we move forward together. Not here's what I'm doing for you, or here's what this looks like. This is what we always do. No, instead it's let's take a minute, let's hear what's happening, and let's take the step forward that needs to happen first.
Yeah, and I would just have to add that, and it is important for me to know how the trust was broken, because I don't want to create
Mm,
a cycle. And who were you trusting in that moment? Because sometimes they either trust a system, they trust the process, or they trust an individual. And then somewhere along the line, one of those got broken. I mean, our Reach Clinic is because there's so much broken trust in the regular medical system that they don't trust going to the hospital for whatever reason.
mhm.
So like I need to understand how is that trust broken so that I don't create another scenario that, we're in the same situation where that trust is broken again. So and then if we move forward, how do we maintain that trust, to Jenny's point, like how do we keep that trust, as we start building it and maintain it to be something that's sustainable? Because sustainable
Yeah.
trust is hard to come by.
No, you're correct. And oftentimes we look at trust like it's optional, right? Or like it's a soft skill, when really it should just be the core and the basis of
Foundation.
everything that we do.
Yeah.
But it also takes us right back to the earlier questions around healing, right? Like healing and trust also has to go hand in hand, because if there is a mistrust, or the trust has been broken, then how do we undo the harm, right? Like how do we address that? Um, and so as we jump into our rapid round, our final set of questions, we know that summer is already here for so many of us. We've heard on the call just the different takeovers that's happening, high visibility moments that's happening. So I want to leave our jurisdictions and our network partners on the call with something practical as well as actionable. Um, all of you guys, I want you all to name a priority jurisdictions should focus on in the next 30 days to strengthen their summer strategies. And Jenny and Johnny, we can start with you guys.
Okay, great. Yeah, so we have a bunch of strategies that we have for our youth in the summer. So we have what we call youth park guides. They are activating the parks where our young people gather. And while they're activating these parks, they're coming up with safe play, bringing resources there to find out what the young people might be interested in if they weren't just at the park. I mean, if they're out there just shooting hoop, then we organize that. We're providing stipends for the young people that are involved in that. We have a youth action committee which meets to find out. They're bringing the youth together to talk about like what is going on. So some of those same people that we hired to change the takeover mode,
Mhm.
they're now finding out like what. So we got I don't want to say the amount of money, but we saved a pot of money to do an event each week in the city, and they're the ones that's going to be in charge of what is that event going to be. So they could be like neighborhood parties, they could be pop-ups, or whatever the case may be. But they're going to organize those so that we don't have to worry about them, having takeovers anymore because they're going to be actually planning the things that we're doing. We have a junior VPP training that we're doing, where we're training them how to come and do this work peer mentor style. We got photo voice that we're doing, and we're doing a drum line because of all of the events that are happening. We're paying the young people to be in the drum line. Music is medicine in our music studio, a lowrider bike club, and then we're doing a home safe campaign. The home safe campaign is where we're figuring out like what is preventing some of these youth from making it home safe at night, and we're trying to remove
Mhm.
those barriers. So right now, the campaign is we're putting up billboards and signs that says home safe, and we're asking each of the young people before they depart their loved ones or their homies or their friends, whatever, to say to each other, get home safe. To planting that thought. So like if you drinking or you smoking, get home safe means I need to get a ride. If you riding around with your strap and you got itchy finger, get home safe means maybe I don't need to put my hand. No, whatever it takes, just putting that thought in their hand. So that's something we're doing. We're doing beats and eats, giving away free food and clothing.
I
And
love
we have
that.
our Thursday night group where we're doing our healing circles. Every Thursday night we have a healing circle. So if there has been trauma, the young people come, they talk about it, they break bread together, see how they could support each other throughout that and the rest of that week, because it's week to week for us, right? And if they need any help, then they get immediate case management from that. And then we do the regular stuff like zoo and movies and going to the park. We're giving them stipends to do that. Case management is all about that. And then the final thing that I'll say that we're doing is if we know that we got some heavy hitters out here, then we're putting them on a plan to where you need to help me understand how we keep the heat down in the city, and then we're going to pay you for that. It's almost like a guaranteed income, basic income kind of model where if you're getting paid just to keep the heat down, right? So just we're keeping them in that vein right there.
Thanks for that, Johnny. Jenny, you got anything you want to add?
Yeah, you pretty much summed it all up. What I would say is that all of these things come from youth voice. Youth are saying, this is what we want, this is what we're going to do. Youth are recording day in and day out. Like we have a dedicated day, but people are, popping by whenever. So just understanding what youth are telling us is a good opportunity. And then any chance we get, we pay youth. We pay them. We pay them to show up and take our business classes. We pay them to, create art, create music. We have an artist advocacy program we're just concluding, but to say we value you. And if we can have you come here and get some cash here, you're really good at being an entrepreneur. Can we do that here for good? Can you actually earn money to do that? And can you actually be a leader in the space for other peers and for younger kids? And that's that ambassador program. So to say like, you're so good at what you're doing, like our social media positive influencers, like at first they were like, we're not giving you our real handles, like no way. And then they're like, oh wait, this is actually kind of cool. So they were posting messages as themselves. They were posting, designing our social media content. But to say like you have a voice, you can use it in this way, and your voice
Yeah,
matters, and it has an impact, by the way. So Bryson, when you were talking
absolutely.
about social media, I was like, yeah, it starts and stops at social media. And if we don't know how to engage in that way, and we can't teach youth how to use their voice and their power and their lens to see what's actually happening and to take a beat before they respond, then we're not actually equipping our youth for what's happening today.
Yeah, you're sharpening their skills, right? You're elevating their voices, you're paying them for their time. Those are all the things that they're asking for. So, you know, hats off to you guys for the amazing work you're doing in Colorado. We appreciate it, and we want to create space so that we can uplift all the things that you all are doing and share with our jurisdictions and our networks. Bryson, I'm coming to you. Same question.
Yeah, I mean, y'all stole the words right out of my mouth. We have to find a way to leverage youth voice, period. I mean, that if that's not part of your strategy, then the strategy isn't effective, right? And but we have to find a way to channel that youth voice. So they mentioned they have a youth action committee, and you can name these in many different ways. We have a young leaders collective that Cities United help us form during our Leading the Way tour, and that's comprised of people that's from the streets that have that hyper local perspective, that knowledge that they can add. And if you don't have that hyper local perspective, then you won't know what's going on in the streets. And we have to one leverage that, but we have to compensate them for that as well. Like I said, um we can't weaponize their resilience. Just because they're from the streets and they know what's going on, that can't be used just because we need it for to satisfy our grants. You know what I'm saying? We have to be able to
Mhm.
pay them. We have to put money in their pocket so that they can see that they have a calling to this work as well. Being able to show them that we can take a chance on them. You know what I'm saying? When I first started this work, I was 19 years old, and that's a huge level of trust to put in a 19-year-old to work in a high school, in an inner city high school that's plagued with violence. So we have to trust our youth. We have to leverage their youth. Or we have to leverage our youth and treat them as perspective. I mean, treat them as professionals. I heard something at my last Cities United convening. They said if you want youth to build with you, you have to let them do it alongside you, not after you. And that's something I'm gonna take with me for a long time.
Thanks, Bryson. And lastly, Caterina.
I think he hopped off.
Yeah, you
Okay.
lost them. They told him to get off the phone before they kicked him off the planes.
Thanks. So as we are closing out this panel and this session, what it reinforced for me, and I hope for all of you, is that safety is not built through one strategy or one system. It's built through people, through partnerships, and a collective effort. I want to leave you all with a few clear strategies to carry forward into the summer. First, move early, not react late. Summer safety starts with planning, not responding later. Second, center young people in the strategy, not just in participation, but in planning, shaping, and leading what safety looks like in their communities. Third, strengthen interruption before crisis. Stay close to the ground, pay attention to patterns, and activate trusted messengers early. Going back to what Bryson mentioned around credibility and credible messengers, it's imperative. Fourth, make healing part of the strategy. Public safety is not just about preventing harm, it's about creating the conditions for healing, restoration, and long-term well-being in our communities. And lastly, align the ecosystem. This work takes all of us: community, schools, city leadership, and frontline partnerships, moving together with shared accountability. Summer, again, is not just a season for us. It's an opportunity to strengthen connection, deepen engagement, and act with intention. The question now for all of us is not whether the moment is here. The question is, how will your jurisdiction seize it? Thank you all for your leadership and for helping us build safe, healthy, and hopeful communities. And with that being said, this closes out our panel, and I will pass it over to Geraldine.
All right. Hi, everyone. Oh, my name is Geraldine Roberson. I am one of the associates of convenings and gatherings with Cities United, and I will be telling you a little bit about convening as we prepare for that. I'll wait for the slides to update.
Sarah, you burying our lead. Take that slide off, please.
My apologies, y'all. My screen is not cooperating with me. I promise it's not me.
Not the one are laughing in the chat.
I'm sorry, y'all. There we go.
Okay, so we are gearing up for our 13th annual convening that is taking place October 20th through 23rd in Memphis, Tennessee. We are super excited, and our goal is to create something that is memorable, united, and purposeful. Those are the things that are grounding us in our planning. We are going to be commemorating 15 years of CU. You should have already been seeing some things online. If you have not, please check out our recaps and our emails, as well as our online campaigns that are taking place to celebrate that. We will be highlighting Memphis' CVI ecosystem and our public safety initiatives, showcasing work from many of our partner jurisdictions, unveiling one of our new frameworks, our Learn Act Lead framework, reaffirming partnerships, gaining new connections, as always, amplifying youth voice, redefining narrative and storytelling, and enhance elected and appointed officials' engagement. As we were planning, we have our RFP form has closed. We received over 100 RFPs. So shout out to all of you. We are in the process of reviewing those, and you should receive correspondence in the coming weeks. If you have any questions, you can email convening@citiesunited.org. Or if you know a team member, they can also connect you if you don't have that email address. Next slide. So, as we've mentioned, we are giving away free registration for people that attend the April roll call and participate in the poll at the beginning of the call. We're going to pretend like we didn't see anything earlier and have our drum roll. Pretend you hear it. It's going. And our winner for April is Adrienne Garr out of Buffalo, New York. Is she still on the call?
Yeah, I'm still here.
So you won. Congratulations.
I never win anything. Thank you, guys.
Well, look at that. You can never say that again because you won.
Oh, yeah. I've been winning raffles and stuff, so no, I definitely appreciate it, especially because I was just appointed in October, so this is new. So even though
Ooh.
we had that horrible shooting, like 4 years ago, and we're coming up on that anniversary, it just got staffed. So I'm excited. So thank you guys.
Why don't you tell us what you were appointed to exactly?
Oh, so I'm appointed to the Office of Gun Violence Prevention for the city of Buffalo. And so that appointment happened in October, and there's been some transition because we had one administration going out and another one coming in. So I'm excited because I've heard a lot about Cities United, and I don't know if anybody's familiar with SNUG, but New York State has a statewide gun violence prevention initiative. And so I was at SNUG for about 5 years before moving into this. So CBI is that's where I got all my skills at. So.
Well, congratulations. I'm giving you your flowers.
Thank you, Geraldine.
I hope you
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Registration again will open on May 4th. We sell pretty fast, kind of Beyonce action over here. So make sure that you are prepared. If you have any questions, again, reach out to us and we will do our best to take care of you.
All right, appreciate that. Well, first, Sister Gar, you won before this. I mean, you got a position, right? So that's a transformative win. So yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, so congratulations to you. So before I get into the resources, I just put in the chat. So we're talking about safe spaces during the summer. So I put in the chat a story around Knoxville. So I'm from Knoxville. So there is a place called the Change Center. Again, you can go on in terms of the entire history, but it was birthed out of youth voice. We had a cohort of young leaders, 13 to 18 years old. We talked them around what brought you joy, what made you mad, and what makes you feel safe. So they talked about having a skating rink. The nearest skating rink in East Knoxville was not in existence. It was in North Knoxville, which is 25 miles with a car. I mean, you can't have that. So they encouraged that and inspired that, and that created the Change Center. So it was birthed also out of the the Initiative of Violence Prevention in Knoxville, Save Our Sons. And through over 9,000 donations, privately and publicly, the Change Center was enacted around 2018 for job creation, job skills, recreation, mentoring, financial literacy, all those kinds of things. But again, it is a safe space in Knoxville, Tennessee, really for the summer. Again, that was birthed out of young people. So if it can happen in Knoxville, which is on like 200,000 plus, it can happen in your jurisdictions too. Again, it came from the power of young people and wanted to be safe during the summer. So I want to highlight that. So as we close out, it's a couple of resources. So again, given what has been going on nationally and locally, right? So what's a summer toolkit? So our theme was around keep it safe in the summer. So the summer toolkit you can check out. Also deployment guide, for those cities who have been and hopefully not will be occupied. What is a resource for that? About numbers. And then kind of lastly, leading the way tour. Again, our last tour is actually this week in Atlanta. And then check out our YouTube channel and all our social media handles. So again, these are resources for you all. Again, made by not only us, but all the stakeholders that we work with every day. So I encourage you to resource that. And then also, I may quiz y'all. I don't know. I may quiz y'all at the convening. You never know. But again, that's the guide for you all. Yeah. So next slide. Yeah. So our next call is now on a Monday. So we have Memorial Day that week. So the next May roll call is actually going to be May 26th. Again, that is a Tuesday, not a Monday. That is on a Tuesday. So again, just keeping with our theme, seizing the moment. So again, tell your mom and them, right? The next roll call will be May 26th. That's a Tuesday, and now on that Monday as we are celebrating Memorial Day. So as we, memorialize those who have, passed on, we come back to engage again. So I'll just say it from my end, the Cities United. I appreciate you all being on the call. Again, we're preparing for the summer. So go to our website, go to our resources, all of our social media, engage with us. So we'll see y'all sometime, either through Zoom, either through in person. Either way, keep safe and keep hopeful. Peace, y'all. Thank you.
Before we wrap real quick, Dre, is Dr. Bug still on?
Dr. Bugs, yeah. Dr. Bugs. Johnny up.
Okay. Hey, Dr. Bugs, did you have anything you wanted to share or to lead to add to the conversation? We will be remiss not to ask.
Yeah.
Hi. You caught me off guard.
We threw you out there, Shawnee.
Hi everybody, and I'm sorry I'm off camera. I don't presently have anything to add to the conversation. I appreciate the ask. I don't know if Talib is still on, but I just really appreciate the discussion today and the panel, and thank you, Cities United and everybody here.
Talib is still on, and I just ditto everything that Shawnee just said. Yeah, super dope.
Thanks, Talib. Thanks, Dr. Bugs. All right, we can wrap, guys.
All right. I'll catch y'all on the flip side. Y'all have a good one.